Hi, I'm Jason from Endless Wave Dynamics, where every week I'll be on the front line of your creative business battles. In today's interview, I'm talking with my good friend, Cory Schop. Originally from Canada, he's been a serial entrepreneur for the last 12 years, firstly a web designer, then a consultant, an affiliate marketer, and a founder of several large companies. He started out with an interest in SEO, where he'd buy websites, flip them, and sell them on for profit. His previous companies, he got to work alongside Dan Martell, who was one of Canada's most big-time angel investors. I met Cory while here in Krakow, and we immediately hit it off talking about internet businesses and working online from anywhere in the world. He'd just arrived from Budapest to start working on his new clothing brand, Roodie, a company specifically designed to appeal to women pet owners. He's now jet setting off to meet his business partner in Puerto Rico for a life on the beach, which is pretty awesome. So I'm glad that I got a chance to spend quality time over the last 2 months and record this interview with him. Whether you like affiliate marketing or not, Cory is a master at selling online, so there's a lot of applicable stuff that you can apply to whatever creative business that you do. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons to both paid and organic internet traffic, and the lack of a fix-all magic pill when it comes to marketing these days. We're going to be talking about selecting a niche audience by creating an avatar for your buyer, reaping rewards by making real connections with the audience on social media and allowing them to see you as a person, not just a seller. We're going into split testing and analysing where your audience is switching off from your content, and the 7 times rule for audience engagement and them seeing your message. We're also going to be diving in deep into the kind of mentality that keeps successful entrepreneurs going year after year. Things like being persistent and sticking with your creative business through the tough times, bouncing back from huge failure by putting negativity aside, legal application, and setting up every project to be more bulletproof should things turn out bad. Finally, touching on traveling and developing people skills and creating new habits and eliminating pain points by being conscious of your environment. Anyway, enjoy this one with Cory Schop. So I'm here with my good friend Cory. We're here in Krakow, and I met Cory a few months ago. He's an affiliate marketer. Why don't you tell us something about you?
So my background is in design, in website design mostly, and programming. I did that for a little while, but it really wasn't my thing. And then I just fell into marketing, kind of through SEO. Is how it started, just monetizing my own sites. And was really intrigued by the fact that I could make money from websites, and I could be anywhere doing that. So I got into doing that a little more. For a while there, I was like just flipping sites, building them out, buying them, enhancing them, flipping them for cash. And that was all good. And then I was still like working like a day-to-day job, kind of part-time during this. And then I made the jump to doing it full-time. And that went really well for a while. And then Google just kept on changing their algorithms and stuff, so traffic went down, which was a direct impact on the revenue. So I had to make a big change, and there was a point there where I just jumped over to paid traffic. So basically, the 2 ways to get traffic online is it's either going to be free, or you're going to put in the time and the effort to make it happen, so it's really not free, or you can pay for it right out of the gate. And I like the path of paying for it because it's just instant, it's quick, I get results, and then I can mine through that data and find what I need and make campaigns profitable.
Sweet. One of the things that I like when I started looking into marketing, I realized very quickly that there's not like a magic pill. There's not like, and like you've just said then, Google are quite happy to change things on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So like, what are the common things that you think when people are first getting into marketing, what's the common misbeliefs that they kind of have?
I think the biggest one is, especially when you look at like paid marketing, they just want to get out there and advertise to as many people as possible. Well, that's really actually a terrible way to do it. What you want to do first is create this, what's called an avatar, which is an ideal representation of the demographic and the target that you're going after. So that could be, for example, like a female ages 25 to 30. She might live in the city, work a medium wage job. She has maybe 1 kid, a dog and a cat. She smokes, just like really painting this picture of who to go after. And also interests, like maybe she's into sewing, she's into crafts. So once you have that, then you got to go find where you can use technology to target those layers. One great place is Facebook, just due to the power of its targeting. Another one I've used in the past was Plenty of Fish, which is actually a dating site, but they have so much data on their users. Now you've got Instagram. Facebook owns Instagram, so they're layering their data over top of Instagram. So you just kind of got to look around, but there's all these places where you can target people based on interest and that kind of level.
So, like, for my audience, like the creatives you at home, this is like a really important thing that you need to be targeting your audience. It can't just be anymore that you just pick a whole broad subject of people and just hope that they're going to like your things. It's like the things that you're putting out, you've really got to kind of hone in on your ideal audience.
For sure. I mean, the biggest thing is it's a waste of money not to do that.
Right.
And now that we have the technology with the layers of all these interests and stuff, and in combination with retargeting, which is quite another interesting technology, it's pretty amazing, like how niche and laser focused you can get and find those little niches everywhere.
And like, if you remember, like how it used to be in the old days with MySpace, when MySpace was taking off, and how much it killed MySpace by bands just adding everyone, even though the people that they were adding would not have liked their music, they'd just constantly be adding the people that just didn't work out well for.
I mean, I think you still have a bit of that. Like, look at Twitter. Like, the whole idea was to get as many followers as possible during the early ages. But it's like, how engaged are those people with your content?
Exactly.
And I think that, and the same is true at Facebook. People, like, they'll buy, like, fans just to make their page look bigger than it is. But if there's absolutely no engagement, you come off as fake. You come off as, you can kind of pick that out, and it just doesn't look right. And I think it puts a bad taste in people's mouth when they see that. Like, they can kind of tell, like, this is kind of manufactured a bit. It's not real. Yeah.
So what I've noticed from watching you work is, like, you're always keeping your audience engaged. You're always like, if somebody remotely likes anything that you put out or drops a comment, you're instantly there messaging them back, getting into direct conversation with the people that like your stuff, because there's kind of a reciprocatory vibe that happens there every time that you're getting into conversation. They're seeing you as a person and not as a seller, and they're wanting to buy, and I find that really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, definitely a lot of people are going that route. Even big brands are hiring people to kind of monitor their social pages and interact. Twitter was the first one to really start it. They used it for support. They used it for just giving away coupons and stuff, but really interacting with your audience. And if they've got questions or they got concerns, you just got to jump in there and answer them, or else they're going to take it outside of those social platforms where you have less control, and it could backfire in your face. So even if you get like heated discussions, heated kind of concerns that people have, address them. Don't be afraid. Like, I think too many people try to sugarcoat it and make it look all positive. But you know, like, sometimes you just got to admit, yes, we did this wrong, address it, and I think that builds your.
So that's like being really conscious about taking responsibility for your actions, and like, if this is what I've done wrong. How can I make it better this next time? It's not just you're not got your head in your sand at that point. How can we analyze that? What's the ways that we can find out if people are actually liking the stuff or not? I mean, are we just chirping out into thin air, or?
So there's different tools out there that let you measure social engagement. It depends, like, where you're putting your most efforts. Like Facebook, they have an excellent ad platform, so they've built a lot of this into it. If you launch a campaign through like your fan page or something, there's insights, so you can see how many shares, how many comments, how many were organic, how many were paid, and you can really break it down. And if you do like a video campaign, you can even see in the analytics as far as like how long somebody got through your video, so you can see if they're dropping off at 10 seconds, at 15 seconds, and so on. And you can kind of use this data for your advantage and do what's called like a split test. Maybe you create like two different videos and have like at that point where they're dropping off, maybe you do a different angle or something and see if that keeps people along longer just so they can reach the end, because the whole point of this online marketing is we want people to consume our content.
Sure.
And the best way to do that is just testing it with different types of content, audio, video. But when we have these tools where we can really dig down and see what people are doing, that's key. Another example was with blogging. I remember I used to be pretty into WordPress, and there was this plugin you could get where it would actually show you how far down on a blog post people were reading.
I need that on mine.
So yeah, just kind of see where they're dropping off or losing interest, and from there tweak it and just make it better.
That's incredible. And like, I love the idea that like you always got to be pinging for interest. You've always got to be putting stuff out there. You've got to be consistent in that kind of way. I was saying to a mutual friend when I was out last night, it was a DJ and a producer, and I was explaining to him the best possible way that he can keep doing is just lots of short burst videos of what it is that he's doing. And that's keeping like your audience there at all time engaged, and you almost got this kind of trust that your audience is buying into, because they can see you all the time. They can see all different aspects of what it is that you're doing, and it kind of keeps them ready at any point to then want to buy the main thing that you're putting out.
Yeah.
Or come to a live event, or come to a live showing if you're an artist, like a gallery showing or something, or like with photos as well, like with like what I see with photographers, it's like you can blog with all your photos, keep putting your photos out there like with Instagram, and not actually worry about the monetization of those actual images straight away. But what's going to happen is, because your branding is out there, what it is that you're doing is out there, your look, your vibe of your pictures, eventually like you're going to get some big corporate gig out of that, that's going to, or some big gig that's going to be well paying, that's going to make up for the fact that you put out so much content in the first place free. So
I think it comes back to there's a saying, I think it was 7 times people need to see your message before they really truly
I've not heard that.
Connect with your brand. Yeah, that's why
amazing.
You see like billboards out there just like hammering people with information, no matter if you're in the subway or if you're walking on the street or on TV, on the radio, different mediums. So people have to hear your message 7 times before it actually connects with them, because there's so much other noise out there in the world. So this is just another way of doing that, but on a kind of a lower key scale, just like staying connected. They know that you're still around. They know that you're still working towards growing that brand, and yeah, they can kind of see your progress too.
Yeah, that's amazing. There is so many similarities. Like, I mean, people probably at home thinking, what has marketing got to do with my creative content? The thing that why I really connected and want to talk about this, like, is that you're very similar to me, that you've not actually had a normal job since 2004, was it?
2004,
That's
yeah.
the same year as I last had a normal job employed by someone. So, like, as a creative entrepreneur, you're putting out content all that time. You've been self-employed, traveling the world. Doing your
40
thing,
countries now, I think it is.
Yeah, setting up businesses, doing your own thing, and like what the real reason why I set up Endless Wave Dynamics in the first place was I was seeing a lot of bands that were like leaving university, wanted to get into the music industry, really like taking it seriously and wanting to make a career out of it. And they spend so much money. They spend like thousands and thousands of pounds buying new guitars. And it's same like with photography. You buy expensive cameras. You all really like zone in on wanting to do your creative hobby as a proper business. But then what happens is like 3 or 4 years down the line, a lot of times is people end up giving up. They end up quitting doing what they're doing. That passionate hobby that was once there is so painful because they're not getting anywhere with it. And most people give up so early. And I guess that's the same with you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In internet marketing as well, I would say 3 or 4 years is even like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You see these newbies coming in, they'll give up after just a couple months, because in that industry, you might launch 10 campaigns and maybe 1 or 2 you're going to make money on. The rest you're going to like lose money. So they get in there, they have 1 or 2 campaigns, they're losing money. The third they lose, and they just get discouraged. They think it's not going to work. They're wasting money, and they quit. and it could be that next campaign that's their home run, and they could be making $1,000 a day. I know guys, I've seen it happen where they're just ready to quit. They put in that little extra time to keep plugging away, and they find like a winning campaign. It might be $100 a day, but it's something, and that leads to the next one. You just gotta have the patience and the determination to keep going, I think.
So like persistence is a really important factor to your creative career eventually being fruitful. But within that, there's always ups and downs. And what has made the difference for you when you've come up against sticking points? What has been the things that push you forward towards keeping going? What have been the successful things that have made a difference?
For me, it's just been passion. I've always been really excited by launching something, making it succeed, and then I tend to get a little bored with it. But just knowing that if I keep pushing forward, I'm going to come out with something cool again. Like, it's kind of like that chase, that challenge to be creative too, because that's the cool thing about online is you can be creative as you want to be. And there's definitely ups and downs and failures along the way, but you just got to get over those hurdles like in everyday normal life, things will come your way. You got to just be quick to act on your feet, decision maker, and just keep plugging away at it. And they say like every entrepreneur eventually succeeds if they keep at it long enough. So I've definitely had my ups and downs, been ripped off, lost a lot of money.
What you're telling me is like a lot of money, and like not many people want to bounce back from losing so much. Yeah. I mean, is there lessons to be learned from those situations? What have you got any advice that you could give?
Yeah, most definitely. So there was this period of time where I was owed quite an amount of money from, I went direct with an advertiser, which is usually good because now you're going direct, you're increasing your revenues, which is nice, and they're getting paid faster, which is good. So everything was going great. I was working with him for months and getting paid, and then all of a sudden he missed an invoice, and I thought nothing of it because I was running traffic for him. So long, just keep it going a little longer. But at that point, you're already up to doing like $4,000 a week in traffic buy. So like a couple weeks, so it ended up being like 3 weeks in, and he finally hadn't paid. So then I finally stopped running the traffic, but at that point the damage was done. And then I never got paid for like a few years, and I still haven't gotten paid. But there was a point where I had to just decide, like, I need to like put this aside, because you're always dwelling on this negativity, and it certainly wasn't helping me get anywhere further in my business, in my other businesses. So I had to just like suck it up, put it behind me, and just like realize, hey, I'm probably never going to see that. What's next,
Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of it comes down to making sure then that it never happens again. So maybe like having a contract in place.
Yeah, exactly.
Because us creatives, all we want to be doing is being focused on what it is that we're doing. We don't really look at the idea that, 2 years down the line, I might need some legality in this issue. Like, there's been lots of times I've been in a similar situation where I've not got paid. And there's been times in my life when I've been really bitter about it and really upset about it and almost clawing for getting paid. Now I tend to look at it like, look, that was my mistake just as much as it is their mistake. It's just as much my issue that I didn't put those boundaries in place. Now I have really clear, defined conversations with the bands that I'm working with and set out a clear agenda when it comes to money, so that there's not at any point expectations that are not in line with reality when it comes to those things, and it's really upsetting to go through that. But then because I've gone through that, I've learned from that, and I think that's the same for you, right?
Yeah, I think the thing is, like, a lot of times you're just like working on this idea. You just think of it as like a side project or something, and then all of a sudden it shows some legs and like there's promise here, and it just starts to get going. And you think, oh well, we'll get the paperwork done next month. It's not a big deal. But something always comes along where like, no, the paperwork doesn't get done. So definitely having a contract in place, that's one thing I'm making sure that I do personally now going forward in any business, even right from the beginning. So setting out kind of like what the job roles will be for each person involved, the payment structure, whoever's going to invest what, getting that all down on paper, and basically just signing it and having it so it would be legal. And then the other thing too that I've learned along the way is it's really tough to do business in another country that you're not from with a business partner from there. I had started up a business with a partner in the States, and I'm from Canada, and it just didn't occur to me that there was going to be this much hassle and planning around like setting that all up. Same thing happened. We just like had an idea. We worked at it. It grew bigger, bigger, bigger. We kept saying we were going to get the paperwork done, but legality wise and stuff, it had to be right, but it wasn't cheap. And then it got to the point where it was so far in that I just really felt like trapped, and that there was nothing I could do. And long story short, that one didn't work out either. I ended up getting out, recouped what I put in, but it's a shame because it's another really hard decision for me because it was really taking off.
But you're quite enjoying moving around in different places. I mean, like you even said to me, you don't even know where home is anymore. Obviously, Canada's in your heart, but like you've literally been different places every few months.
Yeah, home is where my suitcase is at. That's what I always say.
I love the idea that it really pulls you out of your shell. I think that was one of your sticking points, right? Like years ago, you made the decision to travel the world and become a much more social person because of it, because you've got to communicate, you've got to learn how to speak different languages or whatever.
No, it's definitely true. I was a pretty shy person for a long time, and I just found we had a consulting company, and I would go on site, stay at hotels, and you really don't meet much people. You might go to the bar and meet the odd person, but that's it. And then I started to stay at hostels, and you're put in an environment where you're meeting people. They're all around you. Like you have to meet them or you're just going to be so bored. So put yourself in those positions where your environment is set up for you to have a win in the first place. It's kind of like another example. One of my idols gives is like drinking water. Like I never used to drink near enough water, but how do you set yourself up to taking in enough water? Well, buy a big friggin' water jug and just sit that and fill it up every day. Like if it's just make it easier, eliminate those pain points to get to accomplishing the goal that you want, basically.
Even though it might be painful to do that in the first place, but once you've got a new habit in place, then it's all really natural. So tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now, because you've got a new project on the go.
Yeah, I'd love to. So the affiliate marketing has been very up and down. It's been some great months, but the one thing that I find with that is it's not stable. So the only way to get more stable with working online is to have your own product. So it's been something in the back of my mind for a while. I've wanted to do something, and I finally found something. So I went to overseas, had it manufactured. We've been working on it for the last 5 months now, and we're just getting ready to launch it. So it's something now that when I'm running my paid traffic campaigns, I know that it's not going to disappear overnight. It's going to be there for the long haul. And that was the biggest thing with the affiliate stuff is like you could have a campaign disappear overnight. Like I had one, I was doing like $600 a day profit. And then the next day you get an email saying, hey, you got to pause this traffic because it's not backing out for the advertiser. So like those hurt. Your revenue goes from great to nothing overnight. And then you got to go find that next one. And like I said before, maybe 1 out of 10. So you just got to be pumping out those campaigns. And that's pretty much how it is in that industry. But now with my own product, I'll know that can't disappear. I own the product. It's there as long as we've got stock and I got an audience to sell to. Yeah, it should be good. So I'm excited. It's actually a clothing line for women that have small pets, so a cat or a small dog, and it's a hoodie. And the idea is that you can just kind of chill out with your pet in your hoodie, almost like a kangaroo, while you're just like sitting back watching some Netflix at home or whatever.
So it's a really cute thing, and like we're heading towards Christmas now. It's like perfect time for that.
Yep.
Winter, autumn time, snuggling up on a couch with your pet. Small pet. So yeah, awesome. That was a pretty sweet episode. I especially love the 7 times rule to engagement. It goes to show to get better organic attention that cuts through the noise, you have to keep putting out consistent content all of the time to get your message heard. There really is no other fix other than putting in the hard work and selectively targeting your audience well. I'm quite an analytical guy, so seeing Cory's almost scientific approach to gathering data on his audiences with the technologies that he suggests points clearly to how we should be applying those skills in our creative projects to yield greater returns. And it never hurts to be more protective about your business and get agreements in writing from the word go. Both Cory and myself have both been burnt too many times by ignoring the importance of a proper contract. Maybe after watching this show, you'll be more careful about this too. Positivity and habit building is always a strong talking point, and I could talk about that stuff all day, but for now, I hope you got a lot out of this episode. Be sure to check out Cory's new project at RoodieWear.com. Show your support and subscribe in YouTube and in iTunes. I make this content to help creative people in the areas that I struggle the most in my career. If you feel you're struggling with yours, or you feel like you've overcome a huge hurdle in your productive performance, guess what? I'd love to hear about it. So get in touch, follow me on Facebook. Let's have a chat about how we can bring out the best creative in you and in others. Cheers. Bye.